Hey guys, Lucina here, and so I didn't really know what to do until this idea just came to me like randomly. So, Magi and Fairy Tale. They're two very both different anime, right? But they're actually more similar than you would think. Okay, so you might be like, oh, but Lucina, they're both different. Like, Fairy Tale's Fairy Tale and Magi's Magi. Like, okay, look. We'll analyze this together. So, let's jump right to it. Oh my god, that was such a bad pun. So, in Magi, there's a character named Aladdin. Aladdin, most people think of Disney Aladdin, and in Disney Aladdin, you know the song where it's like, now we just have to jump. Yeah, anyway. So, actually on the topic, um, you have in both anime the hungry protagonist. Okay, it might not say much, but for Fairy Tale it's Natsu, for Magi it's Aladdin, and both of them, well, they can eat a whole bunch, like, and they actually do lose power if they haven't eaten in a long time, and but that might not say much, but other than the hungry protagonist, you also have the blonde protagonist. Like, what? In Maki, it's Alibaba. Like, I love Alibaba. He's blonde, yeah, okay. And then in Fairy Tale, you have Lucy, who is also blonde. And I'm pretty sure that this coincidence isn't really a coincidence because if you look into like into the backstory and everything, it actually really is similar. Like, for Lucy, you know, she's from the Heartfilia family. She's pretty much a princess. And she, like, abandoned that whole lifestyle to go and join Fairy Tale to fulfill her dream, right? And then in Magi, you have Alibaba, who was from the slums. And then you find out that he's actually the son of King Rashid, who is like the king of Balbad. So he's a prince, and he pretty much abandons that lifestyle to go off and conquer a dungeon, which is his dream. Like, is this really a coincidence? It probably is just me being stupid again, but I need to like say this and point all of these out because who says I can't point out contradictions? But I'm technically pointing out similarities, so. Anyway, other than that, you also have the stoic character with an outrageous hairstyle. Now, I mean, yeah, pink and blue. Yeah, those are outrageous hairstyles. Blonde, not so much. But in this case, in Magi, you have Morgiana, right? She's like, her hair is meant to be red, but in the anime, it's more of like a light pinkish color. And then in Fairy Tale, you have Urza, and she's just scarlet head, like, yeah, just scarlet, full stop. But when you actually look into it, so Morgiana, she was a slave, right? But then she was freed, and yeah, and she's also a really strong female character. Probably the strongest female character in Magi without capturing a dungeon. And then you have Urza, who like went through past torment as well. And when they were building the Tower of Heaven, she was technically a slave as well. So they're both slaves, and they're both possibly the strongest female character without a power up. If you get what I mean, like in Fairy Tale, they can have like different power ups, like magic items and stuff, or like Dragon Force if they're a Dragon Slayer. But Ursa doesn't really have that, and she pretty much just goes off and buys armor, but then most of her magic is, you know, like her. And then you have Morgiana, who like fights so good without a freaking like dungeon item or whatever. Like, she was strong, and then she became a household vessel, and it was like through the roof strong. But they're both the strongest female characters. We're both slaves, both have red hair, and they're both really, really strong. So I don't know if this is just a coincidence, but again, it is probably me being stupid. But also in Magi and Fairy Tale, with Morgiana and Urza, not only is the backstory or like the character role the same, this is. I can't even say this without laughing, but their lovers are the same too, technically speaking. So for Morgiana, right in the second season, I think, yeah, second season, she ends up getting kissed by Hakyuru, right? And then for Urza, somewhere along the Grand Magic Games arc, she ends up nearly getting kissed by Jalal. And now let's look at Hakyuru and Jalal. So, okay, they both have something that's out of place on their faces. Like Hakyuru, you have a scar on half of your face, and Jalal, you have a tattoo over one of your eyes. Like, other than that, they actually are similar. They both fell into darkness and gave in to someone. So Hakyuru fell into like dark Mogoi and like black Mogoi because he started obeying Judar, right? The fallen Magi. And in Fairy Tale, Jalal, he fell into darkness the same way because he gave into Altir when she was controlling him with her magic. So the similarities are actually really broad in these two anime that I really, really like. And it's just, what? And some of you might be saying, oh, you said, oh, Natsu has a counterpart, Lucy has a counterpart, Urza has a counterpart, Jalal has a counterpart. What about Happy, right? Well, in Magi, there isn't really any non-human, fluffy, tiny character. But if I had to take a guess, I would say Happy's counterpart would be somewhere in Aladdin. Because Aladdin is tiny, cute, small, cute, like blue as well. Did I mention cute? Anyway, so he would probably be part of Happy's counterpart. And some of you might be like, oh, where's Grey, you know? And okay, you know, as far as I can tell, Grey is like this cooler version of Natsu with more intellect. So he is pretty much in whatever I said about Natsu, pretty much. But if I had to say, like, he does have more intellect and stuff, he would probably be somewhere in Alibaba. But you guys might not be convinced, and I have pretty much convinced myself. So here's one more fact. Let's look at the so-called strongest people in both of these anime. So in Magi, it's pretty much inferred that Sinbad is the strongest, right? Like, he united the 7 seas in an alliance and stuff. And then in Fairy Tale, okay, he may not be the strongest out there, but Laxus is pretty strong. Like, he is pretty strong. And if you look at both of them, I would say they're probably at the same, like, strength level or something. And, I mean, they both use lightning. Like, lightning is their main weapon. So, that's gotta be a similarity, right? And, I mean, even when you look at it, Sinbad, he did like really bad stuff when he was on the Seven Seas Alliance, you know, like, let's go and get and trade and stuff. Okay, spoiler alert for Sinbad no Boken or Sinbad's Adventures. This isn't in the anime yet, but Sinbad ends up becoming a slave. So, he ended up becoming a slave and was pretty much like neglected the trading company, and when they needed him most, he was like, you know what, I can't do anything, I've given up, goodbye. He comes back, don't worry. Yeah, And when you look at Lexus, he was pretty much like forbidden from the guild and shoved out. Yeah. That's not really a similarity, I just realized, but hey, there are other similarities, the ones I stated before, but that's just something that I realized when I was just meant to be sleeping. So, yeah, that's it for today's video. The stupid video where I thought I could show how similar Magi was to Fairy Tail, even though Magi is really unique and Fairy Tail is probably the closest anime to it. But then again, they're also really, really different because they just are. And yeah, so that's it. Don't forget to rate, comment, or subscribe. See ya!